Welcome back to the WGL EU Play Week 6, and we're into the final game of the first match of this week, or first games of this week, I guess you could say. There's 6 games going on this week. The first 2 are completed. The third is upcoming. That was a real mouthful for absolutely no reason. But it's ROX against WUSA to close us out.
Yeah, I mean, a German team versus a CIS team. Of course, we've seen the first 2 games, and pretty close, I have to say. I mean, Strong CM did a good job against Supreme, and Penta actually won that match 5-3 against Synergy. Now, Tornado ROX, WUSA, I don't know. I mean, we had that whole situation where Tornado ROX finally managed to close out our game in convincing style against Strong CM in the last match day. Previously, they went like 5-4 against ASAP. I mean, 5-4 against Virtus Pro, Ding 5-3 as well. So they got a few wins under their belt and some good points taken off some of the top teams. But they've only had one convincing result.
Certainly a lot to be worked on here by WUSA, a team that has been very quiet this season, as you highlighted. And Melly, they used to have quite the fans, quite a big fan base out there, but they've been very quiet this season. Has there been any votes starting up just yet?
I am right about to open the vote, and well, I surely don't know how this one goes. We saw Carmen's vote before, which was fairly close as well. So this is kind of a match which I can't really, how to say it, estimate or predict. Yeah. I mean, we saw WUSA stepping up. WUSA had surely there are times with winning the World Cup. World Championship with WCS?
Yeah.
WCA. They came second.
Was it second?
Yeah, it came second.
Second?
I just remember they had a really good placing in that. So we've seen them before being extraordinarily strong, but what's really held them back this season, do you think?
Well, they started well. They got 2 wins, but then they got 2 losses back-to-back. I mean, that's the big problem for them. They need to stop the rot there. They need to actually get back into the season. The thing is about WUSA is that they when they step up, they're very good. I think a couple of issues in their lineup in some respects and weird tactics. When they seem to be on point, though, they seem to be really on point, and they actually, have had good results against, for instance, Sting, a 5-2 victory against them. That was a surprise. But they're an old and experienced team. I think they follow the same kind of morale pattern that Penta does. So technically, I think they should really be on form for this match.
Well, let's hope so. They definitely need a very tough opponent, though. ROX in their way, who's kind of been going from strength to strength in this season, looking very good. And they also need a clean win here, though. They need that 3-0 to kind of put them in a position to maybe challenge someone a little higher up.
Yeah, I mean, as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, it was that whole ROX versus Synergy kind of thing going on. Obviously, Synergy lost their match against Penta 5-3, so ROX are now in the perfect position to actually get themselves higher, and you really start to challenge the Kazna Crews and the Virtus Pros, who not the Virtus Pros, the Team Supremes, who are really starting to actually edge away in this season. So they got a lot of opportunity here. They got a lot of pressure on them as well, so they don't crumble.
Well, let's hope not. And we are over the halfway point in the season, so this is where you might start seeing those cracks in teams who don't quite have that let's say fortitude to carry on the whole way through. But on the attack is Tornado ROX, and a very decisive start towards the center of the map. And the same can be said from WUSA.
You haven't seen Tornado ROX really on this map so far, so let's see what they do present to us, if they have something unique or something cool up their sleeves. But they've just taken control of the hill. But WUSA, as you mentioned, double LTTB, TFT4 stack just coming up from behind.
This is insane, and it could catch him off guard, possibly. I don't know here. Let's see how this one pans out. The IS3s are finally in position to join them, but so much damage being taken towards Sishan Lion that this can get really quite difficult for them actually to make it stick. The Armageddon gets a little bit of damage towards him, but Vorsic still there, takes down one, and now looking for more. The crossfire, the 3-3 split is absolutely destroying WUSA. They are being just mangled by the sheer power and focus fire of Tornado ROX. Sure, they're keeping some numbers alive, but this doesn't look like it's going very well, Ollie.
It doesn't look like it's going very well at all. Tornado basically haven't lost any HP, only lost 1 tank, of course, the T-37, and really WUSA is disintegrating right now. Does Inixter and Stefan left.
Just falling apart by the seams, and it looked like they had a strategy, a plan, but it didn't seem to matter when they just walked into the crossfire of Tornado ROX, who just sat there and said, hell, you guys come at us, as Vorsic will ram down Durs as the final blow here, and Tornado ROX will pick up round 1. Now, that was a strange round.
Yeah, I mean,
what just happened?
We've seen that tactic before where a team rotates straight away and tries to catch the other team off guard, but the thing is Tornado ROX just knew straight away. I mean, they got the hill, great position. They got a kind of Team Supreme map control on that hill. So a lot of tanks proxy spotting what could come up, and Tornado knew that was a viable tactic. So they just caught them actually trying to get on the hill. They set up, hull down with the T-54s, did a lot of shots against the IS-3. Spoink went in that T-54. He probably already knew that it was game over. Got himself absolutely annihilated. The rest of his team were slow to the chase, and yeah, pretty much destroyed.
It just seemed like something they tried once when, oh, this kind of works in theory, but then you kind of ignore the element of the opponent. And if they just stuck around on that hill, instantly set up that 3-3 split, and it was just walking into such a perfect crossfire. So much damage came in that by the time they were anywhere near a position to shoot back, it was just too late. Let's look at it again just to highlight this position. So at this point, Tornado Rocks have taken a couple of shots here and there. But now, look at this.
Basically no shots, you know, like they haven't received much at all.
There was one maybe that came in.
Yeah, 1 or 2 shells. I think WUSA did this against No Mercy at the beginning of the season. I'm pretty sure it was the same tactic in one of the first matches of the season. But you can see as well, you know, some bounces there. WUSA do slightly get back into this game because the IS-3s and the 416s do a lot of damage. But I think, you know, they had a real chance. If they managed to get on that hill and actually get to a position where they weren't dealing with Tornado Rocks hull down, I think it would have gone well for them, but obviously didn't.
Yeah, and Tornado Rocks look like they're proving a point. They probably watched that game earlier with Synergy. They're like, well, we're not going to make the same mistakes. We're just going to trash these guys flat out. Let's play our game, and let's see if they can do it again. Already Tornado Rocks going for quite the aggressive lineup, though. The T-54s are certainly out in force today. Once again, the 416s, the IS-3s, over with WUSA on the defense.
I think if you compare Tornado Rocks from the beginning of the season to now, they're almost a completely different team. They look confident. They look, you know, they look assertive. They look like a team that's having fun and winning at the same time. Whereas before, they were so tentative and so nervous. Even when they had the advantage, they often let it slip through their fingers. Very indicative is of their 5-4 results. So
Lions having a great time.
Let's see what goes there. Vitlion, the mountain lion, just sneaking his way up around.
No, wait, is he around the back of that?
No, his position you could just drive
around the back.
I'm not sure exactly
Did he fail?
what. No, he didn't. He drove off that on purpose. The thing is, he wanted to get the boost up onto the hill. He might have failed, didn't get it. Dropped down onto those rocks and obviously just had to get off there. So that could have been a nice boost for Vitlion. He has to reset the position as it looks like Tornado are setting up for a right side push.
And I bet he's going to be kicking himself. That would probably been a lovely little spot to be in if they did make this play, but sadly not to be the case, and it looks like Tornado Rocks are going to take the fight into their own hands here. They're not going to sit back and rest on their laurels. They're going to take it right towards Plunkett now, who's on the firing line. He's down so low already. That HP, it may look like it's still in place. It's certainly not, and Zik will deal that final shell to take him away. But now Tornado Rocks need to keep this damage going. They're starting to trail a little here. They've walked into the Lion's Den a little haphazardly.
Yeah, but Hallucinogen is very low as well. So the Plunkett went down as well in the IS-3. So I don't know. I think this is going well for Tornado Rocks. WUSA don't have the hill control either.
Yeah, they're starting to struggle. They have nothing really going their side here. WUSA are just kind of depending on doing the damage, but the Armageddon takes one, has to back away. That's Stefan in the back lines in that 416. But look at Siege, look at Lion. Those LTTBs are already so low. They're starting to kind of struggle to make an impact here. And well, the Annihilator chomping at the bit, wanting to make his impact here. And well, it's negative to claim Siege. And it does seem as though Tornado Rocks are starting to really define this map.
Yeah, WUSA suffering for not using a T-32 or an IS-3 in this position. In this position here over towards the right side, and the Armageddon making light work now. Stefan.
Yeah, Stefan is a bit of an issue there. The 416 just easily able to deal with people normally, but Stefan is going to be in a little bit of an awkward position. He's got Durs next to him, but surely he can't withstand, and you're seeing the damage come piling in now towards him. The Armageddon's going to take down Stefan. Spoink now just tucked into a corner, trying to stay alive, but it's a matter of time. He's got the T-37 just off towards the side, and it's Zik right in front of him just to do the final blow, and the Armageddon not bothering to waste a shell.
Yeah, so, I mean, a very assertive move from Tornado. They're being so aggressive. They're being so dominant. They're getting so many angles on this map. It's fantastic to see. But I think, you know, the big point there were those two IS-3s just being caught out in the middle of the map, both going down, and then you saw Tornado get some good positions, some good hold-down positions behind those houses. And
it seemed that even though Tornado Rocks took a lot of, you know, damage HP-wise, they kept so many tanks in the game. And let's actually look back at what Vitlion was trying to do at the start, because I'm kind of curious about this one. And You can see him in the background. That position probably would have been quite nice against that push.
Would have been awesome against that push. He could just sit behind one of those. So he wants to get up towards that rock just in front of you. That would be absolutely perfect. That's the thing, you know, WUSA needed a tank for that right side push, and it was Vitline. But they managed to screw up the boost, and then that right side is vulnerable. You can see those two IS3s just completely open.
Out in the open, yeah.
You can see Volsik as well, the 251. He was the real information gatherer there for Tornado. He proxy spotted that IS3, and then Tornado knew they could go in, get into a position where they were pretty safe from the rest of WUSA, take down the IS3, and they found Hallucinogen as a kind of bonus.
Yeah, and Hallucinogen didn't last much longer than the initial IS3 either. That was a sad factor, that they lost them so early on in that battle. Yeah. It was just almost completely negated their presence. And if maybe Tornado Rocks played more standard, they'd have had their chance. They'd have had that staying power, that nice damage that comes in with an IS3, but it just wasn't the case. And at this point, the IS3 is already gone, and now we're at just under 5 minutes. You can see how quickly they did get melted. Yeah,
that's a big thing, you know, 2 IS3s being lost for basically nothing, and then Tornado having good positions. As I said before, I think WUSA needed a T32 in this match. I think they needed to be a little bit more, I don't know, strong going forwards. And they needed more crossfire as well. You know, that 416 did good work, but because it was all over towards that left-hand side, it was more to try and stop a Lighthouse Island push than anything else.
Well, that was a very quick start, let's just say. 2-0 cleanly picked up by Tornado Rocks, but I don't know whether they can replicate that on the other side, if I can use my words.
Voice jammer.
No, don't even say it. It makes me nervous. We'll do a cast of World of Tanks with a voice jammer on.
We should do that. Imagine all the names. They're just going to be impossible
to do.
Oh, God, that's... They're three-syllable names.
I struggle with, like, Fifth Laren and Freiburg.
Yeah,
but you add in the Annihilator.
Yeah. The Armageddon.
All
Iliot.
Liliot. If you guys do want to know what a speech jammer is, it basically, in caster headsets like the one we're wearing, it plays our own voice back to us at almost 0 delay. So we hear it as we're saying it. However, the speech jammer, it'll play it back to you about 0.5 to maybe a second later. And it absolutely screws up your brain.
Your own voice.
So you can't focus on what you're saying. It's absolutely hilarious. But I think maybe Melly could join in on that one as well. How do you feel about that, Melly?
Oh, I had that once on a stage.
Oh, wow, really?
Yes.
What, on purpose?
No, of course not on purpose.
Someone was just screwing with you.
Yeah, no, it was just a technical issue. And I just heard myself echoing in my earpiece. And
oh, no.
It was so hard. No, that's not the PA doing the same, but okay. But it is really hard. People, you should try it and see how stupid you feel, actually.
Yeah, there's an app. You can go online, try it yourselves. I think it's for free, so just go and give it a go.
I don't even know why our brain can't comprehend it.
I don't know, but mine definitely couldn't. I started to dribble pretty much by the end of it.
I think it's because what your brain does is basically listens to yourself back, and then it can kind of formulate what it's going to say. Yeah. But if it hears itself back at a different point, it can't formulate what it wants to say next, and it kind of screws with the whole method.
Looping your brain. Like you know what happens when you plug one network cable with both ends in a hub or a switch.
IT's going to turn up right now and punch you, Melly.
Exactly, but
you can't even mention that.
Like, no, no, Melly.
In the moment I said it, someone appears.
Johannes is just around the corner, like, you said what?
No, but I think that's pretty much what happens with your brain. Like bringing back the whatever. Try yourself, see what happens, and it's not our fault for being weird. I know we're weird, but
we're special.
65% for Rocks in this case.
Oh, nice to try to put it back in line.
Nice, good.
Nice,
good
professional. 65%. Wow, that's a really nice percentage.
Exactly,
Thank you,
but actually at the start of the vote, it was clearly favored for WUSA. So we have WUSA fans out there
somewhere,
and we have people having faith in WUSA, which is not wrong.
No.
You should support your teams, people. So head over to facebook.com/WGLEU and hand in your votes if you haven't voted already. And of course, if you don't have Facebook, well, bad luck. You can't win one of those bonus codes at least. But on Twitter, we're giving away bonus codes as well, of course, for the tweets of the day. If you're, well, tweeting something very clever or smart or funny or maybe the exact prediction, you might win a bonus code. We're giving away 3 per day on Twitter as well. Just use the hashtag WGLEU to make sure that we can see your tweet, that we can read it, and that we can maybe forward your questions to our experts here on the desk.
Well, experts is a strong word when you say it in regards to 2 people, and even 1. But thank
3
you,
people? 2 people and even 1? Does that make sense? I don't know.
It did in the context of the sentence, but don't listen to Melly, Ollie. No one ever does.
True.
I love
so
you, Melly.
harsh.
I love you so much. I'm so sorry.
Steely faced when you said that as well. No emotion.
I love you, Melly. I'm so sorry. Rip me. Twitch show hates me now. It's like lynch mob appears. Kill her. Take her away from the show. She insulted Aunt Melly. So every time Melly's not here, the tears, the salty, salty tears from Twitch chat appear. She's too beloved to ever remove. But anyway, into the game. We need to see what's going on here. Tornado Rocks are now on the defending side, and WUSA is on the attacking side.
So we're seeing the M44 back into mines. I mean, we saw the FE304 in the previous round. Obviously picked up by Penta. This time, Armageddon playing that one and Vitline receiving a couple, but still, you know, WUSA have this control over the area in the middle, and the thing is, you know, Tornado got a very heavy lineup, and they might just want to challenge that middle area.
Yeah, Plunkett and Durs are heading very assertively round towards that western southern side, or southwestern side, should I say. Inglando is hard, which could allow them to get some nice shots towards the back of Negative or anyone else who's up on that hill, and we'd have to see if that does come into some sort of point here, and actually is. Spoink's doing some great work as well. Some good connecting shots on the cross, but ooh, that IS-3's taking a lot as well. This is a little bit dangerous for Tornado Rocks. They're down a little bit of HP here. Yeah,
they've received a lot of damage. I mean, great play by WUSA. It's a pretty common tactic having those 2 T-54s down in the south. And Kopolika, that's going to be hard as a speed jammer.
I'm going to say IS-3.
Yeah, IS-3 got about 65% damage there. But still, you know, Tornado Rocks, you know, they knew they had to receive some damage to get the hill. They got it now. Vitline had to scamper off that one. So Tornado are in a position where they can start to challenge wherever they want to. They can keep those 2 T-54s at bay. They can go a hole down. And WUSA need another angle that might be towards that western side. Let's see if they go for it now. They're going to have to start considering it sooner rather than later. That cap may not be the initial focus, let's say, of WUSA, but it's certainly going to be a burning question in about 68 seconds' time. But Tornado Rocks still have every single tank alive here. Even if maybe the IS-3s took a little bit of a beating, they still have enough to work with. And Plunkett going to go walkabouts here. Yeah, this is good. He's the only real issue I have with this position from Plunkett is that if Tornado Rocks just decide to push in, there's going to be a tier 8 tank basically out of the battle, and that could cost them, and it has cost a lot of teams before. But if Positive peaks here, he could be in very big trouble as well, as Spoink and Stefan are in the background with the IS-3 and the T-54 ready and waiting, and he does get punished. There we go. Positive does get a little bit of an angsty peek off there, a little bit aggressive, but it's Negative trying to just challenge down, find Vitline. He takes a little bit of damage, but he will claim the kill. And we're seeing still the M44 arcing out those shells, but 14 seconds on the cap. They're going to have to make a move for this pretty darn soon. They're lining up for it. The IS-3 is just above them. It could bear down if required, but Positive's the one looking for it. The reset did come in, but the Annihilator taking a hell of a lot of damage for that. I think you have to see WUSA push out of this cap right now, because Positive, Zik and Volsik have all got positions onto them. Exactly. We didn't see Zik and Volsik before now, but they are in a great spot to lay down this fire. So aware of these angles on this map. It's unbelievable to watch. They'll always find a position they can make the shots from. It's Positive to take down Hallucinogen again. And well, looking at what we're still left with, it's not much, but the HP is fairly well spread. But Tornado Rocks are fantastic at keeping their tanks alive. And look at this one. They're rolling in towards that Lighthouse Island. Vorsic finds Stefan. Now Spoink in a terrible predicament. Zik in front, Vorsic to the side. Where can you go here? Durs can't get back to him in time. Sure, Spoink's trying to do some damage, but Positive sooner rather than later will be able to get around, but he doesn't need to as Vorsic is there. Spoink goes down, and WUSA's down to 2. Yeah, this is game over for WUSA. Tornado just outplaying WUSA in every single kind of fashion possible. And 2.5k hit points is a fairly big buffer, as well as Plunkett, the only one remaining. And this is the thing, you know, Plunkett should have done a lot more work. 11 shots, 6 hit. He should have taken down the Annihilator. He should have taken down the AMX5100. He should have at least found the Armageddon, who kills himself, which is a super cowardly thing to do. But he does. So BM. But he does kill himself, which is a bit embarrassing for him. But still, Plunkett will die.
It'd be hilarious if somehow Plunkett killed everyone and now the M44 is the difference. I'd have loved that. But it's never going to be the case with how many tanks? I guess the Annihilator's low. The other IS-3 is low. But it doesn't matter because Vorsic is there. And it's going to be another victory coming in for Tornado Rocks.
Yeah, a really good victory for them. I think, you know, the principle from WUSA was great. So they rotated off that hill with it line. The two T-54s did good damage against the IS-3s pushing on the hill, which was a really obvious move from Tornado. But the thing is, there was like 7 seconds left on that cap. But when Vorsic and Zik got the angle onto those two, the IS-3 and the T-54 that was capping, it was game over. Like, they did so much damage. I think what should have happened is that as soon as WUSA saw those tanks pushing around from the northern area, they should have just got out of the cap. You know, the LTTB and the IS-3 should have just pushed up and dealt with the Annihilator. Don't stay there.
Bearing in mind, WUSA prior to this were on like 5.9k HP and Tornado were like 4.5. So that's a big difference. They still had a lot to work with here, but they just kind of seemed to run out of steam.
Yeah, they did. Again, I think WUSA, like WUSA often does, they're just stuck in that position. The thing is, you know, Hallucinogen, the LTTB could have provided some cover for him at least. He didn't at all. Hallucinogen was left on his own. There's no like second kind of play for WUSA. There's no second
like a fallback plan or anything.
Exactly. Like a second bit of depth for WUSA. They just don't seem to lack that. You know, a lot of teams would have had the LTTB at some angle to try and provide some cover for the IS-3, but WUSA didn't have that. And they got caught out there for sure. Good rotation there from Tornado Rocks. Very simple stuff from them. And then they could clear up, and Positive getting on the island as well, just absolutely annihilating Stefan and that T-54. Good work.
And it's always those second iterations of the tactic that impress me. Back in the original seasons, there's very few teams who could really provide an in-depth kind of version of that. And when I looked at it, it was always, you know, your Virtus Pros or your Team Dignitases, or maybe even Denova back at those days, who started to show glimpses of it. Like, well, okay, this was our initial plan. We'll predict your response and then have ours ready. So it's that nice second bit of play coming in. But a lot of the other teams now picking up on this, of course. So we look at the league today in comparison to the last couple of seasons. It's a different picture. So many teams can now compete at such a high level. But if WUSA lack it, that's a massive flaw. Stop it.
Sorry. Reflex.
God, he's literally like chalk, or like nails down a chalkboard.
I might just ask Joe to do this in the office just to annoy you.
I don't like that idea at all.
I'm just screwing it back up again.
Thank you.
Making sure it's
that's
tight
really nice.
and everything.
Yeah, that's really kind of you, Ollie. But still, the tanks are ready to go, and it is 3-0 in favour to Tornado Rock so far. And what are they up to this time? What does it look like they're going for here?
Well, double IS-3 from WUSA. They're going to push up the hill again with Vitline. Maybe they thought, okay, the execution was slightly wrong, but let's try the same thing twice. Vitline only receives one shell this time.
It's the same.
And his driver goes down. He doesn't have a first aid kit to actually do anything with that driver, but Vitline gets hit by the Armageddon, but it was only a heat shell, so it just hit the track and didn't take him down.
But this seems very reminiscent of the last time they played this out. What differences do they need to make it work?
Well, first of all, they need to make sure that they keep Tornado off the hill a little bit more and a little bit longer. Spoink and Hallucinogen need to do more damage, and you know, the T-54s from behind need to do more.
But look at that, Positive just baited out their shots basically, allowed Zik and Vorsic to cross in. Sure, okay, Vorsic took one shell on the way from Spoink, but outside of that was a nice little free cross.
And Spoink just failed by dropping down. He has no need for him to
he's fallen down?
Yeah, he's fallen down. So now Tornado Rocks have complete control off the hill, and Vitline gets cancelled out in that LTTB.
Oh, this is like rinse and repeat, sadly enough. Let's hope somewhere in that northern side of this map, or kind of, you know, northwestern side, that the IS-3, the T-54, both IS-3s can actually hold off against what Tornado Rocks like to do, which is how they like to stop this cap. Or is there another variation of this? That's a big question for me. Where else can they go now? They've still got Durs in position. They still have, I believe, DePlucket is still there with him. So this is a little bit of a better setup for them. Maybe this time it'll be harder. Yeah,
I mean, still, WUSA are in the lead in terms of hit points because of that double IS-3 stack. Now, Stefan needs to do damage whilst Tornado crosses. The thing is because Tornado crossed with two low HP IS-3s and the T-54s, the IS-3s in the last round, didn't manage to do any damage. They basically got some free positions from WUSA. So the cap is still underway, but Stefan's just losing these exchanges horribly, and that's thanks to a bad position.
And the M44 is the one that closes it down on him as well. That's the best part, but still, it's rinse and repeat here. It looks like WUSA has the advantage for a small margin, but now at least they're pushing out. They're looking for variation, but bearing in mind negatives in the background, I think he's still on reload possibly. I'm not too sure, and he's going to be pretty much a sitting duck in this instance. So he should be caught out here. He shouldn't be able to achieve anything, and this should be a nice little bit of a cakewalk coming out for WUSA, or at least in this degree.
Should be a walk in the park for WUSA right now to take down negative. The Armageddon also falls, so this is good now from WUSA. They're still behind, but they seem to be learning and going forwards. The Armageddon will fall, but Volsik is in such good position to deal with Hallucinogen, Siege, and, well, Spoink, who also falls.
Yeah, just 4 remaining for WUSA now, and they're so darn low. Between 4 of them, make it 3 now, 792 HP, and they're being just cleaned up one after the other.
Yeah, this is game over. 2 versus 4. Tornado Rocks 3.5k hit points, and WUSA 4-0 scoreline on the first map, Mines. And you know, I said last time Tornado played, that was of course against Strong Siema when they managed to do a nice clean 5-0. That it looked like Tornado had kind of crested that mountain of problems they had at the beginning of the season and actually looked like a confident and well responsive team, and they're really proving this right now.
They certainly are, and Plunkett trying to hold on for a couple more seconds, but it doesn't seem to matter. Vorsik does what he did last time and takes him down 4-0 on map 1.
Yeah, a really big scoreline here for Tornado. I mean, it wasn't really around where WUSA got close. I guess the closest one was that second one where the second time WUSA were attacking, where they were in that western side cap. But that western side cap is so hard to deal with. It's such a risky move the whole time. So big scoreline here for Tornado, 4-0. WUSA, every single round got challenged. Every single time they failed. Tornado Rocks look like they're on a roll.
Yeah, Tornado Rocks look absolutely perfect right now. Let's look back at the Armageddon and negative here, as they were such, you know, instrumental parts towards it. And even though we saw negative get caught out, by this point, there was such a favor towards Tornado, it'd be hard to lose. Yeah,
I mean, look at that. 3.9k to 2.9k, that's 1,000 hit points. Vorsik just has his hill. You can see that Tornado, you know, they know that they need to keep the hill control regardless. So they can send the IS-3s and Zik and the TFT4 down to try and deal with that cap, but they need to keep their best player, Vorsik, on the hill. Keep dominance over the map, keep positions on the map, keep vision on the map, and well, it really does pay off in the end.
It really did. Plunkett and there was one other left alive, but it really didn't matter to the end. Sort of scoreline 4-0 is extraordinarily decisive. And do we know what the second map is?
No, we don't. I think it's going to be Himmelsdorf though. Ghost Town even.
Yeah, so. Ghost Town's going to be interesting. That's a little different. Maybe there's light at the end of the tunnel somewhere. I'm not too sure. We have to wait and see. But Melly, how are the people out there finding this one? Because it's 4-0 so far.
Well, I must admit, I expected something else. At the start, I said I can't really put this in a draw, but still a 4-0 stomp I surely did not had on display actually. Yeah. And people at home with 65% for Rocks surely didn't expect them to prevail that much, actually. I mean, we have tweets coming in from our Dancing Kitty, the Polish version. I can't really pronounce it. Team WUSA looks like they're blown away by a tornado named Rocks. 3 quick rounds and 3-0.
Yeah, 4 quick rounds now and 4-0, so yeah.
So
yeah, that's probably the next tweet in a few minutes.
Hey, his puns were pretty spot on as well.
Absolutely. I mean,
good work on the puns.
I don't know what happened to WUSA, to be honest.
Yeah, they look like they're really down and out at this point. And you know, Ghost Town, not a map WUSA's played so far in the season. We've seen Tornado play 1 round on it, where they lost against Virtus Pro when Virtus Pro was on the defense. I mean, 1 round's not really like a good gauge of how a team plays a map. So.
I think we still need to see more of it. Yeah. So maybe we'll get the opportunity now.
Yeah, maybe we'll. I mean, I'd be super surprised if WUSA managed to bring this back. I mean, to be fair, Ghost Town does seem to be that map where teams can actually get back into the games. I mean, we saw Utopia.
It's one of the newer maps, right? Some teams have put more hours in than others.
And especially when you get certain positions on Ghost Town, it's really hard to actually challenge them with the other teams. So that might happen as well.
Yeah, it certainly could.
So people, get in your tweets, use the hashtag WGLU to tell us your thoughts on this. Will WUSA be able to bring back this match on Ghost Town? with defending first. And well, I don't know, to be honest. I'm not saying anything to this matchup anymore because, well, it always goes the other way around how I say it. That's why I tend to keep my mouth closed and let the community vote. And regarding a vote, people head over to facebook.com/WGLEU, and if you haven't voted yet, get in your predictions. You might get it right at this point. Usually I always say, people, the earlier you vote, the better your chances are. But now, obviously, if you haven't voted, you might be in favor here. And people, as said, tweet us, vote, and hopefully see you back after a short break on Ghost Town.
Welcome back to the WGL. We are now moments away from what could be the final map of this evening between Tornado Rocks and WUSA. So far, it's been a little bit one-sided, Ollie.
Yeah, it's a 4-0 scoreline for Tornado Rocks, just wiping the floor right now with WUSA, with a very convincing first map Mines. Now moving on to Ghost Town, of course, things slow down a little bit more. It's a slightly more static map. You see a lot of positional play, a lot of playing around the corners, but still it looks like Tornado Rocks should be able to take this one away.
Well, you'd assume so. 1 out of 4 tries. They're probably going to get at least one of them, I can assume, but we'll find out. The teams are almost ready, so we'll get this one started very quickly. And, well, we've seen some pretty good moments already on Ghost Town. MV Papa comes to mind.
Yeah.
That guy went absolutely wild. So, guys, if you're new to it and you haven't seen it before, let's introduce Ghost Town.
Ghost Town. The first absolutely symmetrical map made especially for 7 versus 7 games. The teams start the battle on opposite sides. There are numerous ways to attack here. One of the bases is located in the central square, the other one at the top of the city. The hardest battles are usually fought for it, and this calls for the use of heavy tanks.
Quite the beautiful map it is as well. Let's get into this one. And Tornado Rocks are on the attack this time with 4 points beside them. WUSA on the defense, having to get this round to even stay in this game. And what do we see so far from the lineups?
Well, IS-3s and 5100s with a couple of T-54s and obviously a T-37. But really the thing I want to highlight here is that Tornado got caught out by some early aggression by Virtus Pro on this map in the only time one of these two have actually played it. And it's the same side. Tornado Rocks were attacking. And doesn't look like WUSA's going to be taking a leaf out of that playbook. They are setting up for a really defensive Northern Cap play. And, you know, a lot of the teams, especially Utopia, have been really exploiting that Northern Cap.
Yeah, they really are. They've got every single player there almost. That's pretty insane. I guess when Cap 2, the more southern cap, the central cap, is just so easy to decap. There's such a little cover there.
I mean, it's in the middle of the map and there's so many angles.
Yeah,
if you go in there, you have like one small building you can hide behind, but you can get shot from 4 sides. So it's really a risky play, and we haven't seen it work out so far in any of the matches.
It'd be interesting to see if someone can, you know, find a really, really cool way of capping out. There probably will be some ingenious play at some point, but for now it's certainly not been a factor. But we are seeing a little bit of a rotation from WUSA coming out now. Yeah,
so Hallucinogen, who in my opinion has actually held his own this match day, and in that IS-3 pushing forwards now. WUSA just rotating around. You know, these two teams are just avoiding each other perfectly. The thing is, Tornado are keeping their T-37 pretty close to that main group of tanks, whilst you can see WUSA sending theirs further forwards, sending them a little bit on a scenic route. So we'll have to see who can get the information first. It'll be very important, but honestly, Tornado could set themselves up in this Northern Cap quite easily without WUSA having a single shot on them.
And I'm kind of curious here. WUSA had a great position on this first of all, and around the world we go, apparently. And does Pluckett and Stefan a little bit baffled maybe, but the alarm bell and, well, the cap bell will be running very, very soon once these guys decide maybe if they want to go for it, or maybe they want to stay unspotted, unbeknownst, and maybe try and make a play towards the IS-3s and the 5100s. This could be absolutely massive. Here we go. The spots are coming out. The Armageddon, negative. Everyone's been spotted, and these guys are going to have to deal the damage, but on the high ground, WUSA is waiting, and this could get a little painful here.
The thing is, those IS-3s don't have very good gun depression. They got much better gun elevation, so actually Tornado are kind of at an advantage. They've also got the overmatch.
Yeah, Positive's just being the linchpin here. He's trying to allow for Vorsic, the Annihilator, and Negative to fold on towards Hallucinogen, which he does perfectly, and they're just roping them in. Look at this play, just pushing them from pillar to post, but still, Siege does at least find the T-37 on the opposite number, but can they do any more now?
Oh, it does. An extra 3 versus 1. He's just going to receive so much damage, also gets caught in the scenery, might be dead.
Beautiful play from Vorsic again, doing what he needs to. Durs goes down, but now Positive in the Armageddon, drastically outnumbered. 3v1, make it 4 almost. Positive, shell after shell coming in. He's down to a 1-shot. The Armageddon takes a little of his own. Where is the backup? They need help. Zik at least takes down Stefan, and now these 3 at least do the damage, but they need to be able to pull themselves together and get out of this. WUSA starting to trail in numbers and in HP.
Yeah, I think this is almost game over now for WUSA. They are trying to do as much damage as they can, but Spoink gets taken care of by Zik. The Annihilator pushes onto the pocket, and really it's 3 versus 4, and Tornado Rocks' AMX 5100s are going to come off reload. Not soon, but soon enough.
Yeah, Siege going to try and do some hero play around in the background, but Zik there does get picked up by Siege, so maybe this is still possible? I don't know. The Annihilator's still in this game with so much HP, and WUSA's down to so little. And with Negative chasing down Vetlion, this looks like it can only go one way. Vorsic in the background waiting for reload to be available as the Annihilator swings turret and just swats Siege away. Vetlion at least did take down Negative, pulling it back to a 2v2.
Yeah, this is okay. WUSA are playing some good tanks right now, some good individual play, but
Vorsic
they're stuck in between two tanks. That might be bad. The Annihilator finds the plunk it. Vitline remains.
And Vorsic has at least 4 shells still remaining, and he's going to use every... Oh, tell a lie! Vetlion holds on by a thread. The Annihilator has the shell, though, and that is all she wrote for WUSA. 5-0 for Tornado Rocks.
Yeah, sloppy play in the end by Tornado, but they do get the job done, and a very clean sweep. Their second clean sweep. The first time this season we've seen that from a team 5-0 both Strong Siema and now WUSA, who, to be honest, are a very veteran team, and clearly that experience in some of those players, and you know, just the hard work is paying off for the Tornado Rocks. They didn't look like they were even tested until that last game where it got pretty close.
Yeah, but you've got to still feel that individual element that just Tornado Rocks has. They can still depend on that. If the initial play doesn't work out too well, they've always got people like the Annihilator or Vorsic having great games, which is a lot to depend on, and they, more often than not, actually pays off. But let's look at the start of this game, because it was kind of curious. They avoided each other for so long.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit of ring of roses. The thing is, you know, Tornado went for the engagement. I think they could have got the cap as well. But you could see straight away, I mean, just WUSA's just off kilter. They're just not timed well together. Even though Tornado Rocks are the one going forwards towards WUSA, Tornado gets the first 2 shells out for no damage at all. Hallucinogen gets caught out on his own. And then you see Dazanixu as well getting caught out, trying to reverse around the corner in AMX 5100. It just wasn't good play from WUSA. I think they already knew they lost. I think that last game was more of a throwaway.
I tend to agree, and once again, we still haven't seen much of a dominant display from Tornado Rocks on this map yet. It's still been, this was a very close game, bearing in mind, at this point they did certainly take a good advantage. As you said, shooting upwards is Positive's kind of actual benefit here in the IS-3, at least. Normally it's the high ground that is beneficial, but in an IS-3 it can work the other way around almost, at least in that sort of spot. But these guys looked hungry for the win by this point. Yeah,
this looked like they wanted to finish this one off as quickly as possible. WUSA looked like they wanted to finish it off as quickly as possible. You can see Dazanixu making the crucial mistake of getting stuck on scenery, and Vorsic will punish there in his 5100. And you can see a last-ditch attempt from WUSA. They look like they want to practice some individual play. Shefa makes a bit of a mistake. He should have taken down Positive. Goes for the Armageddon even, and gets punished by Zik. So, yeah, I mean, not great play in the end, but good scoreline altogether from Tornado. I think they look like they're a team that has finally started to get into their own element, and, you know, they get the ball rolling a little bit. And to be honest, with those 3 points, and with Sinji having lost that first match today, they're really, really good right now. Yeah,
they're in a great spot. Let's have a little look back at the 3 games, though, that we did have today, because we started off with a bit of a bang, and something that most people didn't really expect, Penta actually overcoming Synergy.
Yeah, that was my highlight, definitely, for today. I mean, I expected Penta to do well, but I didn't think they'd do that well. And I think if 3-5, it is 5-3, by the way, Synergy lost that match. I expected it to be even less close for Synergy.
Even the producer didn't expect that scoreline.
I know, man. No one did. I think it should have been a 5-1 or a 5-2 for Penta. I think they made a couple of mistakes, clearly indicative that, okay, they did well in this match, but they've still got a lot to work on. Strong Siema Supreme, more of a rollover after that first map, Ruhenberg, where Supreme just got on their own on Himmelsdorf.
Yeah, and of course the closeout game, it was a 5-0 to Tornado Rocks. That's a bit of a tongue twister sometimes, but still, it was almost upsets. That's the thing, there was almost upsets across the board. It was so close into that final game. It was like, wow, 2-2 with Strong and Supreme, but, you know, these guys turn up when it matters, but still, of course, that did affect the rankings. We'll come to that in a moment's time, because I want to check in with Melly, of course, and the people at home. They were back in this game to kind of go this way, weren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 4-0 leading that high, I don't think that a team like Tornadoes would ever give away the second map against a team like WUSA. Sad to say, but WUSA hasn't played up to their potentials yet. It's about to start. It's about time to start, guys. Since we're in the second half of the season, things are getting really serious. If not now, then at least the next couple match days. Yeah. After that, it's gonna be really, really tough to claim points, to climb up high enough to avoid maybe the relegation spots. Yeah. We can talk about these semis at this point of the season already, and of course the finals straight ahead. You guys have to start playing. And people at home, well, predicted with a 70% vote for Tornado Rocks, and also a lot of 5-0 predictions as well, which surprised me, since people usually go the comfortable road with trying to balance it out as much as possible.
Yeah, it was, you know, a big surprise. I think Tornado Rocks in this kind of part of the season, they've actually picked up a lot of fans. You know, they've made some good content as well, and I think people appreciate that. So really happy to see that they've, you know, they got some people towards them. But you know, this is the Gold Series. You've got to really step up, and of course, you know, we got Go Falls on the weekend where you can start your journey. We've got a new Battle API coming out as well, where you can get into the games really quickly. So you know, you can see how, as an individual and as a team, you can make your way from a very shaky start like Tornado did to a really confident finish.
Absolutely. And people, if you want to try yourself, as Ollie mentioned, we have our Bronze League, where you can fight your way up to the Silver League and maybe eventually to the Gold League, and also those Go 4 Cups. Enough information about that, of course, on the website itself and on facebook.com/WGLU. Don't forget to follow those platforms to stay updated and to not miss anything. And also the content Ollie mentioned, we're sharing it on Facebook. Go and see yourself. A lot of nice stuff coming up over the next few days and weeks. And people, thank you very much from my side, and it was a pleasure, and thank you for getting involved so much.
It's always great to hear from the community. They are hilarious most of the time until it involves my face. Then not so much.
Still hilarious then.
Shut your face. Anyway, let's look at the upcoming games, because this is obviously just Playday 1 of this week's Play Week. And speaking of fan favourites earlier, we certainly have a good couple of games. Ding against Kaznakru, Virtus Pro up against No Mercy, and then WUSA against Utopia. So some of your favourites out there will be featured, and that'll be on Thursday. So do make sure you check that out. And of course, you can just, if you want any, you know, more reminders, Twitter, Facebook, everything, you can literally go YouTube, smoke signals, anything. There's some pigeons flying around with little banners like dropping it off to people. But make sure you follow on Twitch. It's the most simple and easy way. Hit that follow button down below, and every time we go live, you'll be notified. But enough from us. I think it's time we go home. But it's been an absolute pleasure bringing you this Playday, and hopefully see you on Thursday.